Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to KGX to the ZTV. Here today with a little belated match review slash match analysis. Chelsea won. Nottingham Forest won. The last match before another international break. Seems like these international breaks come at the worst time. Get the season out, get it started, get the ball rolling, everyone's all hype, and then boom, September 1, and then October, and then next month, November, which wouldn't be so bad if, with the Euro qualifiers and things like that, but then they throw in the Nations League, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, we've seen all these meaningless games sort of take the toll on people, right? We've seen Rodri just go out for the year with, probably some fatigue-induced injuries and things like that. But for us, it's always tough, right? Because our starting midfield goes all the way back down to South America, right? Caicedo and Enzo and things like that. But, that's another video for another day, another topic. But today, we'll just get into it. The lineup came in for the Forest game pretty much unchanged, right? We've been doing a good job of rotating 11 in the league and then another 11 in the completely different 11 in the Conference League or Carabao Cup. But with injuries and things like that, we've had to mix up, play some folks here, play some folks there. But luckily not too much, right? Knock on wood. But we came into this one with a fully fit squad with the exception of Reece James, who's still out, timetable for return unknown, right? This was last year. We'd see the still undergoing rehabilitation program, but hopefully Reece will come back when he's right, our captain, and come back when he's fully fit and healthy to give Gusto some competition at that right back slot and to offer the kind of qualities and what he brings, the kind of skills that he brings to the team when he's fully fit. So that being aside, this one was a very, very interesting match, right? We knew Force was going to come in. Nuno Espirito Santo was going to set up. They've been very, very resolute when they've been defending. We knew that Gibbs White would be coming back, was suspended for the last one for 2 yellow cards, a horrible red card challenge or second yellow in his previous match before his suspension. But we knew, like I said, we knew their defense was going to be very good, very strong. Neto in goal. We knew that they went to Anfield this year and not only got a result, but also got 3 points, which very difficult to do. And that's our next fixture, the lunchtime kickoff after the international break. So we knew what they had coming in, right? We knew they had Hudson-Odoi, Olanga, Chris Wood, big, strong, physical center backs. Murillo linked to us in the summertime, but maybe that was just for him to try to get a new deal. So we knew that they posed a unique challenge, right? We knew they were going to sit behind the ball, low block, mid block, make it very difficult for us, and that's exactly what they did. First half, it was sort of an exercise, right? We in kind of in frustration a little bit because we did very well. We came out very well in pressing high up the pitch, winning the ball back, but we just couldn't get those actions right in the final third, right? We had Sancho on the left-hand side doing a very good job, giving Ola Aina, ex-Chelsea Academy graduate, big up Ola Aina each and every time. But he was giving him fits, just one-on-one, just very, very, very tricky, very creative, coming inside. Was playing some nice 1-2s with Enzo, with Nico, with Cole Palmer, and things like that. So just doing what Sancho does, right? We know he's very elegant, very good on the ball. But unfortunately, he just wasn't able to create any big clear-cut chances like he has in the past, right? 3 assists in his first 3 Premier League matches. But overall did fairly well on that side. And then on the other side, we had Madueke, who didn't get as many opportunities to get on the ball. We know 1v1, he's very good, very, very direct, a handful for defenders, especially now that he's shown the ability to cut inside as well as go down the right-hand side, score some lovely goals with his right foot this year so far. But he was sort of what he's been since the Wolves game away, where he put it all together in that one. But it's been a little frustrating. His performances have been hit and miss, which is what you're going to get with a young player who's still trying to find his feet, right? You look at this team and you look at the construct of it and how our squad was built, you'd have to say that we have a lot of guys still with very high potentials, but they're young players. They need time in order to develop. So guys like Nico, guys like Palmer, even still Caicedo, even Enzo, very very young players. Definitely not the finished article, but we want to see those kind of players developing, getting minutes, and sort of adding bits and pieces to their game. So Madueke, like I said, with him, it's not a matter of can he beat his defender, right? He's going to beat most left backs on a 1v1 basis fairly consistently. But with him, it's just getting the final action right, whether it's shooting and going for a goal, or whether it's making the right decision to play a pass if it's in the air, if it's cutting across the face of goal and things like that. So, generally just frustrated. Frustrating performance in terms of the attack in the first half and just trying to get things going. Palmer wasn't too involved. Neither was Nico. Their center backs did a very good job of sort of being physical with him and just not allowing him to turn. But they also did a very good job of sitting in that block and cutting out the service to Nico, where we know and we've seen him when if you give the ball to him, um, and you allow him to turn and you allow him to play intricate little 1-2s, he's gonna kill you, and it's really gonna get our attack going because our wingers, high flying wingers, even though Sancho doesn't have the most pace, but we do have the pace when we come in with Mudryk, when we come in with Neto and things like that. Um, so going into halftime 0-0. Neither keeper had too much to do in the first half. Second half, like we did a lot of times last year, we give up a silly foul, which leads to a set piece, which leads to a little bit of a calamity at the back. They send a ball in, and they send it sort of to the back post. One of their players who had come forward knocks it down, and then Chris Wood slides and gets on the end of it, and then next thing you know, it's 1-0 Forest, and we're up against it. Not a place that we haven't been this year in terms of being down. We've pulled results out, whether it's draws, whether it's wins, and things like that. But just overall, up until that point, Forrest hadn't done much, and it was disappointing for us to go down with another set piece, which was again something that we struggled at last year. But unlike last year, we did a really really good job of just responding right away, and we got the equalizer probably about not even 10 minutes, right? We kicked on right from that moment. 10 minutes, Madueke this time gets the ball. And a lot of times with Madueke too, it's a little unfair, right? Because if we're playing Gusto in that inverted role, or we don't really give him too much of an overlap, right? Because Palmer is going to be central in that 10. So, there's really no threat down the right-hand side. But this time, he did a good job. They funneled him in or allowed him to get onto a strong foot, beat a defender, and then hit a low shot that went through some traffic, and then Neto just wasn't able to get to it. 1-1 with about 30 minutes left, and the crowd was going, we were back into it, we were creating stuff, and then next thing you know, Forrest is down to 10 men. James Ward-Prowse, who was already on a yellow, we get a nice little breakaway or a nice little counter, and it's a foot race between him and Jackson. And Ward-Prowse actually gets there first, but what he does, he dives on the ball, and like a lot of players do nowadays, they grab the ball, thinking that he got tripped by Jackson. Their legs did get tangled slightly, but definitely wasn't a foul. Both players were going for the ball. He knew that he was getting beat for pace, and instead of him getting a red card, straight red, which I thought he should have, Thiago Silva did it maybe 2-3 years ago when he dove on it. He got away with it too. But in my mind, if you're diving on the ball and you're grabbing it with your hand in an opportunity like that, where it's not an obvious foul, that should be a straight red. But nonetheless, second yellow, he's off. They're down to 10 men, and we just start throwing on some attackers, right? We had Mudryk come in for Sancho. We had Neto, who eventually came in for Madueke, who went off. Looked like he went off injured and couldn't put any weight on one of his legs, but that was after what should have been a second sending off for Nico Williams, who kicked out at Cucurella right in front of our bench. Tensions got really high. Bench is cleared, and we ended up like we've done a lot this year and last year, just getting unnecessary yellow cards for just running our mouths, right? Kukurea gets one for barking off to the fourth official, which means it's his fifth of the year already. Five yellow cards in what, 7 matches, 6 matches, and so that means he's suspended for the next one. Later on, Fofana, who was also on 4, gets suspended. Not as bad with Fofana because we got Tosin to come in, and you could even say with a left back with Vega, but you don't want Mohamed Salah, even if he's on bad form, going up against Renato Vega. But that's for the Liverpool match preview. But we create some excellent opportunities, right? We've got Neto who comes in, goes down the byline, cuts back inside. Very, very strong, Neto. I didn't realize how strong he was, right? He's a small guy in stature, but he's got a little bit of size to him, Pauls. And he sends a ball in for João Felix, who had come on for Enzo, and unmarked in the box, and João Felix puts his header wide. Should have been 2-1 right there. We get another opportunity down the left-hand side with Mudryk. This time, Mudryk is just motoring up and down that left flank. Pretty much picks up the ball from right outside of our box, dribbles all the way down, sends it across, and Cuckoo, who had come on for Jackson, who you would almost bet the house on that he's scoring in this situation, right? Gets good contact, gets good power on him, but his header's directly at Neto. Neto makes the save. Get another excellent opportunity too a little bit later with Cole Palmer, which is right outside the box. Just takes a lovely touch, kind of nutmegs the defender, gets around him, gets 2 shots off. Neto, who put in a man of the match performance. Shout out to both goalkeepers. We'll talk about Sanchez in a second, but Neto was just unreal, and that's not the first time that we've faced some of these lower table opposition sides where they just pull out worldies, right? They a guy like Neto, who been a decent keeper over his career, turns into prime Buffon, turns into prime Manuel Neuer, and just has just a worldie. But we create opportunities. We're pushing forward. We almost get caught a couple of times. One in stoppage time. There was about 13 minutes of stoppage time because Gibbs White did go off with a very, very bad non-contact, or it was contact on the injury, but it looked like he kind of pulled up a little bit before that. And then obviously the sending off, and then the little brouhaha. So there was like 13 minutes of extra time, and you would have thought, all right, gets a low block. We're just piling the pressure on. We're creating opportunities. We're playing the ball quickly from side to side, getting some shots off. But we do, and like most teams do, you're susceptible to the counter when you've got all that attacking talent on, and you're pushing everyone up high, right? Pretty much everyone except for Tosin was on the halfway line, and we got caught a couple times in transition. Elanga, and then Chris Wood and Sanchez. Big up Sanchez. Like I said, both keepers probably deserve man of the match because without them, someone definitely would have walked away with 3 points. But Sanchez pulled out some great stops, which was very relieving to see after his last performance versus Brighton, where he was pretty much at fault for the 2 goals. But to be honest with you, Sanchez has been pretty decent this year. He's had his moments, but not nearly as frequent as last year when it comes to playing himself into trouble and shooting himself in the foot. But when it comes to shot stopping, he's been very, very good this year. He's saved our bacon more than once and kind of kept some folks out. But yeah, unfortunately, we just weren't able to break him down. We had an opportunity. We stayed in 4th because United pulled out a draw versus Villa. Newcastle also either split points or lost to Everton. And Spurs obviously blew their 2-goal lead to Brighton and things like that. So it was an opportunity for us to sort of not create some distance between us and the likes of Aston Villa, but for us to get a little tiny cushion and to really make the kind of erase some of the negativity from that early Crystal Palace, which looked like a bad home draw, but to really maximize this early easy run of fixtures before things get tough, because we know when we come back from the international break, we've got Liverpool, we've got Newcastle twice, one home in the league and then away in the cup in the span of like 3 days. We've got a trip to United in there, which we haven't done very well despite how shit United is at the moment. I think we've got Arsenal and maybe even Spurs. So we've got some really, really tough fixtures that it would have been nice to have these 3 points in the bag. But, you know, the result wasn't there, but the performance was okay. Still always a little bit open at the back, but, it's going to be like that for times. Um, Other than that, I thought the center backs played fairly well. I thought Colwell played pretty well. I thought Fofana handled himself pretty well. When you think about key moments and you kind of don't remember any for your center backs, it's usually a good time. It's usually a good sign because it kind of lets you know that they didn't really have too much to do. Even with the midfield, right? Caicedo kind of ghosted, but wasn't bad, wasn't great. Enzo, again, at some point, we're gonna have to have a conversation about Enzo. He was a little wayward. Probably should have had another assist, which might have kind of flipped the perspective. But some of his touches in around the box were a little loose, a little haphazard. Kind of killed a couple attacks, allowed them to start a few counters. One of the counters, which we almost gave up a goal at the end, and things like that. But we definitely need him in there, but we need him playing well. We need his creativity. We need his passing from deep. He's a better passer than Caicedo, although Caicedo has very good range. But he's a guy that we've seen it doing for club and for country. We know he has the capability to do it. So the attack, Palmer, very influential in the second half. Kind of had a quiet first half, which is gonna happen. I mean, he's not gonna score 4 goals like he did versus Brighton in the first half. Nico, like I said, didn't have the strongest showing. They did a good job of sort of muscling him out of the match. But we've got the kind of attacking depth and talent to pull out performances like this, which was made it a little disappointing, but also good that it wasn't stagnant. It wasn't utterly frustrating against the 10-man low block. Things like this, and performances like this and matches like this. They're growing pains for young teams, right? And we're definitely not the finished article. We're definitely not in a title race. I've seen some videos floating around on social media about did this kill Chelsea's chances of a title race? Like, bro, we're not in a title race. We're not up to the level of consistency with the likes of Liverpool, with the likes of Arsenal, with the likes of Man City. A lot can happen, right? And we've seen injuries and things like that. But for us to even entertain those conversations, we'd have to be a lot further along in our development. I don't like to use these projects and phases and all that bullshit that Arsenal fans like to use. But we know we're getting there. We're getting better. The squad is gelling. There's a lot of good harmony, good vibes within the squad. Maresca's making the right choices. He's picking the right lineups. He's making the right substitutions. He's playing players in the right positions where they can kind of get the most out of them. So, a lot of positives taken away before this break. How we come back, hopefully we don't pick up any knocks. We get some rest for some of our key players. We'll see what the international withdrawals and things like that look like. But overall, pretty good. Pretty good so far. Like I said, definitely more positives than negatives. Very, very happy with the manager and how he speaks and his ideas and his thoughts and how they come across with his in-game management, with his adjustments, with his game plans. So, like I said, a lot of positivity. Hopefully we can kind of keep it rolling. Anfield's going to be a big test. Likely, if we can get anything out of it, a point would be a good result. But we'll see where we are in a week and a half when folks start coming back. Hopefully, like I said, no injuries and things like that. But for now, I'll try to get some more content out. I got to kind of step it up a little bit more. Been just super busy with just life, just work type stuff. But appreciate everybody always checking in, and we will see you at the next one. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Peace.